What's going on, you guys? Frost here, and I'm back with another guide. This time I'll be telling you guys how I play Nidalee jungle. If you find this guide helpful in any way, please do remember to click that like button, as this will help me get this guide out there to more people. Also, if anything changes that will affect this guide, there will be an update in the description. The following subjects will be mentioned in this guide: champion description, abilities, leveling order, runes, masteries, the item build, and the jungle strategy. If you want to go to a specific subject, you can click on it right now. Champion description. Nidalee is a very strong assassin with an even better long range poke. When it comes to the early game, Nidalee is pretty much the strongest jungler if you can land your Q. Because of this, you should pretty much always try to invade the other jungler on his first buff. Besides Nidalee being so strong in the early game, she also scales very well into the mid to the late game. Also, Nidalee is an AP jungler, meaning that with picking this champion you can get AP into the team where mid laners pick something like Zed or Yasuo. If you like a champion with good power throughout the entire game, and of course the feeling you get when you land one of those long range spears, Nidalee is definitely the champion for you. Nidalee's abilities. Her passive, Prowl and Hunt. Prowl increases Nidalee's movement speed by 10% for 2 seconds when moving through a brush. This will go up to 30% if she's moving toward a visible enemy champion. Hunt. Hitting enemy champions and neutral monsters with Javelin Toss or Bushwhack will mark them as hunted for 4 seconds, revealing them. Neutral monsters are also rooted for 2 seconds. While moving toward hunted targets, Nidalee gains Prowl's bonus movement speed and ignores unit collision. Her first ability, Javelin Toss and Takedown. When in human form, Nidalee has access to Javelin Toss. Nidalee throws a javelin in the forward line. This skill has a massive range and the damage of it will increase with the amount of range the javelin has traveled. When in Cougar form, Nidalee has access to Takedown. Your next basic attack will gain 75 range and will deal magic damage. The lower the target is, the more damage this skill will do. If you hit a target that is hunted, Takedown's damage will increase by 33%. This skill is used to either poke out the enemy champions in the mid to late game with Javelin Toss, but you can also use the skill to get around the map faster when you combine it with your Pounce, because you can jump over walls onto jungle camps. This skill is also very good for early invades into the enemy jungler. The reason for this is they are generally low from tanking the camp, and at this stage of the game, your combination of Hunt passive and Pounce into Takedown will pretty much insta-kill anyone on level 2. Her second ability, Bushwhack and Pounce. When in human form, Nidalee has access to Bushwhack. Nidalee lays down a trap at a target location. This trap will arm after a brief delay, so you cannot use this to get an instant hunt mark on an opponent. As I just said, this trap will apply hunt to the target that steps onto it. The trap lasts for 2 minutes before disappearing. When in Cougar form, Nidalee has access to Pounce. Nidalee launches a fixed 375 units in the direction of your cursor, dealing magic damage to enemies within a 75 radius. Killing a unit will reduce Pounce's current cooldown to 1.5 seconds if it's higher than that. When you use the skill on a target that is hunted, it will become a targeted dash at 750 range. And the cooldown will reset to 1.5 seconds after pouncing onto this hunted target. This can only happen once every time a target is hunted. This skill is mainly used to get around the map faster and to gain yourself control over your jungle, because you can place traps at entrances to spot enemies walking in. Her third ability, Primal Surge and Swipe. When in human form, Nidalee has access to Primal Surge. Nidalee will heal a target allied champion or herself and grant them bonus attack speed for 7 seconds. When in Cougar form, Nidalee has access to Swipe. Nidalee claws at the enemies in a 180-degree cone in the direction of the cursor, dealing magic damage to all enemies hit. This skill is used for better jungle clear and wave clear. And the skill will also help you sustain your jungle a lot better. Plus the attack speed buff will help you in getting turrets really quick. You can just use it on an AD carry and he will wreck the turret for you. This ability is also great at sustaining your team against long range poke or in a prolonged team fight. Her fourth ability, Aspect of the Cougar. When in human form, Nidalee can use the skill to transform into a cougar, gaining a new set of abilities and melee attacks at 125 range. Triggering Hunt will reset the cooldown of this skill when Nidalee is in human form. You will get 1 point in the skill at level 1. Each rank in the skill will increase the ranks of all Nidalee's cougar abilities. You cannot level these up separately. Leveling these abilities. I start with W on level 1 because this gives me the most damage to clear the initial camp with and also set up for a better clear time. On level 2 I get my Q for the extra damage onto the camps, and on level 3 I'll get my heal to have that extra sustain plus all of your abilities. As far as maxing goes, I'll max my Q first since it's your biggest damage increase. I max my E second because it will give you a bigger heal, and I max my W last because the effectiveness of this skill doesn't really go up much after the first point you put into it, and you take your R whenever possible. The runes. I go for 9 flat AD marks, 9 flat armor seals, 9 flat AP glyphs, and 3 flat AP quints. I go for the 9 flat AD marks because your takedown skills of AD, meaning that you will have more execute damage in the early game, Also, it will increase your auto attack damage. I go for 9 armor seals to survive my jungle in the early game and also reduce the auto attacks from the other jungler when you invade him early. And I get the flat AP glyphs and quints for a massive increase in my early game damage, so I can pull off the first buff invade for a pretty much guaranteed first blood. The Masteries. I go for 12-18-0 on Nidalee, taking the increased damage and sustain in the ferocity tree, and in the cunning tree I take the extra damage to minions and monsters to help you with your jungle clear. Then I'll take the buff duration increase because this will help you get your blue buff for a longer period of time. Then you take the things to increase your damage and in the end get the Thunderlord's Keystone. I go for this Keystone because it will add to your burst, especially at the moment in the game where it matters most. The item build. I have two different item builds for Nidalee. The first one is where you're going for a more melee range build, and the second one is very oriented to ranged poke. You can decide what you want accordingly when you know what kind of team comp you have. So let's get into the melee build first. Starting off, you want to get yourself a Hunter's Talisman and 3 health potions. If you are flawless at clearing your jungle with Nidalee, all the small mechanics and that stuff, you can go for the refillable potion along with your talisman. This will save you 150 gold later on. After your first clear, you want to upgrade your talisman into a skirmisher item. Then, if you didn't start with the refillable potion, you want to get that now to help you sustain some health throughout the game. After this, you want to enchant your jungle item as fast as possible. This will also offer you a lot of movement speed, so you don't really need to buy regular boots. Also, Nidalee is very mobile with her W, so the boots can wait. Anyway, after you finish your jungle item, you want to get yourself some Sorks to make you roam a bit faster, and mainly the magic pen to help you deal a lot more damage. At this stage, you want to build into a Rod of Ages. The reason for this is it will make you very durable in fights, and it will also offer you quite a lot of mana. Now after this, you want to get a Zonias and a Lichbane. You can do this in whatever order you prefer. If you don't feel like you need the invulnerability from Zonias, then you get a Lichbane because this will greatly increase your damage. And to get 6 items, you want to get yourself a Void Staff. The reason you get this instead of like Death Cap at this point is because they will have quite a good amount of MR, so Void Staff will help you deal more damage than Death Cap would. And to finish off this build, you want to get yourself a Death Cap instead of your boots. You can easily sell your boots with this build because you will have increased movement speed from both Lichbane and the jungle item. Now, for the second build, you want to start with the same way. Instead of rushing your jungle enchant, you want to get a Tear in between. Tear will offer you a massive mana pool, plus it will get you a lot more AP once you're a full build. After Tear, get your jungle enchant and then some boots to increase your damage. Now at this stage you should be getting close to fully stacking your Tear, so you want to upgrade that into an Archangel Staff. After this, get yourself a Death Cap to maximize your AP, and then follow that up with a Void Staff to gain a lot of damage. Every spear you hit at this stage in your build will do about 60 to 70% health to a squishy target. But to finish this build off, get yourself a Zonias. It will help you survive if they really want to go deep for you. The jungle strategy. In the background right now you can see the jungle clear for both sides of the map. Whilst this is playing, I'll talk to you guys a little bit about invading, ganking and team fighting. Also take a close look to where the traps are because this is pretty much the placement you want to have down correctly in order to easily clear your jungle. Alright, so invading. Nidalee is really good at evading her opponent because she has so much damage plus mobility when you use the grass. When you're against an opponent that tends to full clear, you should always try to catch them at their second buff camp. This will most likely result in you getting a free kill. You can also clear one camp and then run to their first buff camp, but if this fails, then that will put you very far behind. So this is not recommended. When it comes to ganking, you pretty much want to make sure that you hit your spear. If this means holding on to it for a little bit whilst you run closer to the target, then do that. I know that this will make it deal less damage, but it's better to get your passive onto the target so your Cougar form will be able to deal a lot more damage. And finally, team fighting. You kind of want to play this more of a support. You want to just lay back, just throw your spears, heal your teammates, and only go in if you're 100% sure of the kill. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you've enjoyed it or learned anything from it, please do remember to click that like button right below this video, as this helps me get this video out there. If you would like to see more guides like this, hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!